Hello, my name is Tōru, internet user Nisetsumuri, and today I wanted to make a study vlog. After searching for my schoolwork, I quickly realized I don't have schoolwork. But just because I can't make a study vlog doesn't mean I just can't make a vlog about something work-related, even if it's not exactly work and more of a hobby/pastime. So the thing I wanted to do in place of a study vlog was a book review. Because, yeah, what sane 17-year-old in this day and age of 2023 is still reading books? You can probably tell that I'm not normal. However you want to define that. Yeah, book kids still exist, surprisingly. Gen Z, and even the kids that are younger than us, there are book kids. We're not all addicted to our phones. I will say, however, that digital reading, ebooks, all that stuff is a much more convenient way of accessing literature. To me, there's a certain novelty that comes with having physical copies of books. I feel like that may have something to do with my somewhat related interest in manga collection. The star of today's video would be House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. Not sure if I pronounced that surname correctly, but it is what it is. Anyways, to anyone viewing this, if anyone at all, this may seem somewhat familiar if you are acquainted with myhouse.wad. I could go on about how it also takes elements such as writing the word house in blue in all of the notes, but other YouTubers have done a much better job on analyzing that whole thing and the connection between House of Leaves and myhouse.wad. I do also believe it's worth mentioning that seeing a video done on a heavy analysis and in-depth exploration of the mod itself, as well as connecting those elements together and solving the mystery, is what introduced me to the book itself. I personally never would have expected a Doom mod, of all things, to be something that would have introduced me to a book that I find myself heavily invested in. I actually was never interested in Doom. I was born in 2005. I do have a lot of quote-unquote older interests, such as Invader Zim. I absolutely adore Tamagotchi, Trigun 1998. I do like a lot of what people would refer to as, I guess, old school stuff, but if I'm being honest, that's actually the stuff that I grew up with. Yeah, Gen Z kids remember the 90s. Crazy. But I was never actually interested in Doom. I was, however, and honestly still am, heavily interested in the concept of the backrooms, especially the whole liminal space aspect of that. I love liminal spaces. The ones that are less unsettling and less creepy, those are the ones that I enjoy. Empty spaces that seem lonely yet so familiar, places that you really don't spend a lot of time in, so you wouldn't really notice. I love liminal photography. There's a certain comfort that comes with it. Not the creepy ones though, but that's what inspired the entire concept of the backroom, so I can't discredit those. I don't remember how old I was when I started fixating on the backrooms, but I know that I've been into them for a very long time. Back when it was still an obscure part of the internet. Back when SCPs were still the big thing. That's when I started fixating on the backrooms. And now that it's become this, well, it's been dying down recently, but my point still stands. Now that it's become this huge thing that everyone is suddenly interested in, that the YouTubers are making a lot of content related to see myhouse.wad, it wasn't a coincidence. I saw that the video that I watched was an entire hour long. I immediately was hooked. I was like, this is a great way to spend my time. Clicking on a video and learning something new. Not something educational, not academically educational, but just something that interests me, something that provides new information for me to take in, absorb, and internalize. And boy, did I internalize. I was so amazed by the quote-unquote backrooms, or at least something similar to it, existing in media before the backrooms even existed as a concept itself. By the end of the video, when the book is properly introduced and even endorsed by the creator of said video, I knew for a fact that I needed to get my hands on this book. It took me a while. It took me so long, in fact, that I bought another book that I found interesting before I could even buy it. Funny story, actually. On the day I went into a local bookstore to buy House of Leaves, they didn't have it in stock. So I spent my time looking for this instead and bought it. But anyway, I knew I absolutely needed that book because, like, I like reading. I don't read a lot of real literature. I'm more of a fanfic connoisseur, if you will. But I do enjoy myself a good, real book. Fanfic writers do it better. That's not to say that, you know, physical book authors aren't good at writing. I'm just saying, fanfic hits different, but we're getting off track here. I have not finished reading House of Leaves. I've barely even started, in fact, but good lord, am I already hooked. The beginning, it's hard to get into because it's normal, and all the hype surrounding this book heavily lies on the fact that it's structured like this. The beginning of the book is very normal. It's got normal structure, and that can be a bit of a turnoff. It can be discouraging. Once it really gets into like the parts where the pages start looking different, then you get what you paid for. I powered through. I even read the forward introduction, the added introduction. I've read the forward and the introduction, actually. The forward is one page. The introduction is what I found hard to get through because of how long it really was. But I got through it, and as much as I did not enjoy reading it, I finished it. And then I got to chapter 1, the only chapter, the Navidson record. I've never really seen a book that was intentionally designed to be read the way that House of Leaves is meant to be read, because it's written by someone else. It's an essay. It is a deep analysis of a film called the Navidson record. The Navidson record, well, the chapter at least, is an analysis written on the film by the same name by a man whose writings were then inherited by another man who is adding footnotes and certain edits to said writings. So there are essentially two authors. Very distinct authors as well. They are separate. There's a story in the main book, and then there's a story written in the footnotes. I've never seen a book like this. It's fascinating. The fact that you have to go back and forth constantly between the footnotes and the actual writing itself, and then the stories that the person writes in the footnotes, it really keeps me busy with the book, because it's a lot more interactive than most books. If I really had to compare it to something, I would say it's like those choose-your-own-adventure books. You know, you skip a certain number of pages ahead to read something and then navigate to another page. There's a lot of jumping around involved with this book as well, only because the stories in the footnotes go on for multiple pages at a time. I really cannot wait to get further into the book, because even though I haven't finished it, I already am thinking about ways that I'm going to reread it once I'm done. Because there is a lot. When you figure things out and finish the book and have everything like kind of revealed to you, it gives you a different perspective on the book, so when you decide to reread it, if you ever do, which you should, if you decide to read any book, really, after reading it once, it gives you a new perspective on how things work, and it allows you to see things that you might have not caught before. You have a deeper understanding of what the author is trying to portray and how things are going to go along. That's actually why I repeat a lot of media that I consume. It's because you can look for like certain things that you might have not noticed before, or you know, like you have a renewed understanding of it and can go back and be like, I get this now. I've done that a lot. Music, TV shows, movies, books. As soon as I finish this, I will be going back and rereading it. I don't want to leave an official review because I can't keep my mouth shut for shit. I'd be spoiling a heavy chunk of the book. I already kind of did by showing example pages. The gist of it is, there are two stories in one. They're somewhat related. One is a completely independent story on its own, and another is technically also independent, but is heavily reliant on introductions from the original component. I find that super interesting. I also cannot wait to get to the parts where like you need to do weird shit with the book in order to read it, because that is so entertaining to me. As someone who has very problematic ADHD, the fact that a book this long and this drawn out, I guess you could say, because a lot of the stories don't really have that much content to it, it's just a bunch of words going on and on. This book has actually done a really good job at keeping me interested and captivated despite the boredom that I get when reading some bits sometimes, because it's, again, really interactive. You know, you gotta go back and forth, there are footnotes in a fiction book, which I find funny. This is a testimony from someone who has ADHD that prevents him from doing a lot of things in life. This book can actually keep me occupied, and I really do enjoy it. So if someone who gets ahead of himself a lot is like, alright, I gotta play 5D chess with this book, even though the book is probably playing 5D chess with me, it's something that'll keep me occupied. But if you enjoy complex literature that is, in every sense of the word, convoluted, this book is a really good read. But yeah, this was the main star of the show today. I will be continuing on with reading this later, once I find a comfortable place to sit that I can actually sit still in. The second star is this book, which you have seen earlier. This is How You Lose the Time War. The way this book was written is just absolutely incredible. It's a good story. It's like interesting, it's captivating. It's a romance book. It's queer romance. That makes it even better. If you're familiar with the movie Interstellar, it has a very similar concept regarding time. I don't want to spoil too much, but the title does say time war, so again, the whole thing is really similar to how Interstellar was, where it kind of loops back. But it's also the development of interpersonal relationships between the two main characters, and how it all actually just wraps up and ties together neatly. It's unsatisfying because it leaves you wanting more, but satisfying at the same time because it comes to that perfect close. I could nerd out about how time paradoxes work, but I'm not gonna do that because this video is already long enough as it is. Good read. Absolutely good read. Like, oh, good. Oh my god. Even if you don't like romance or whatever, even if you don't like gay romance or whatever, first of all, you should, because it's good. Second of all, this book in general, and just the way that at the end you finally get everything on the table for you to see and actually put it all together in a roundabout way, like officially, it's really satisfying. But the ending is also like, oh, I want more. And it really gets you thinking, because it is essentially a time paradox, but it's one that's really, really entertaining. But yeah, those are my book recommendations for my book review video thing that's supposed to be in place of a study vlog, because I don't actually have schoolwork to vlog. I'm not really good at writing book reports. I don't enjoy writing book reports because like there are requirements, at least from an academic standpoint, there are requirements. Like you need to write an essay, like make your claim, or thesis, explain your thesis, gather evidence from the book, citation, reasoning for why that evidence is relevant. It's just a bore. Like, why are you making me do work about something that I should find enjoyable? Why are you making me do something that I don't like doing for something that I should be like enjoying separately on its own? Yeah, I have a very, and I'm not quiet about it either, very apparent distaste for essays and just academically structured writings in general. I don't know. I don't like them. I just want to explain what my ideas are. I don't really like want to back them up or anything. I just want my opinions heard. Why argue? Why argue on paper? Seems kind of stupid to me. But yeah, I guess I might make videos like this in the future. I don't know. I just kind of do what I want. It's my channel, my rules. It's my channel and I get to decide the content. So there may or may not be another book review, who knows. I'm just posting stuff that I want to post. Goodbye. And you'll have fun with the way it's structured. I don't remember what the specific term for it is, but it starts with an E. The closest spelling that I can think of that I absolutely know for certain is not it is ergonomic. Because ergonomics is specifically catered to function well with the human body so it doesn't mess your body up. This is not that. This is a style of writing, not a way of describing a chair that's been designed so that you don't get scoliosis.